been a while. Good evening, Los Angeles and the rest of America, and good morning, Philippines. Um, Welcome to Mars Cafe. I'm Marceline, Marcy Taylor, whatever. It's been a while since I've done a show on here, and basically, Mars Cafe is a place for me to interview friends of mine, creative people that I think you would benefit from listening to. And today's guest is none other than um, animator, director, super creative dude, someone I've known for a long time. His name is Avid Liongoren. I spoke to Avid a few days ago, and so what you're going to see is my conversation with him. We talk about the state of animation in the Philippines, how he got started. Fun fact, we worked together many years ago when he was just a college student. And then we also talk about how he got his passion project, Saving Sally, made. And then his next animated feature, Hayup Ka, is also now playing on Netflix Asia. And he's going to be working, or he is currently working on Jaja Saturna. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do next. So for now, enjoy my interview with director, creative genius, Avid Liongoren.
in
Guys,
ABS.
this is a still that I stole from Avid Liongoren's movie Hayup Ka, currently showing on Netflix Asia. So, a little background. I have known Avid since he was a wee little Avid, an itty bitty Avid. He was. Were you in high school when we met?
College, second year college when I started working for Binary Soup, the
Binary
company.
Soup is a design studio back in the 90s that I co-founded with friends, JJ Yulo, Dino Ignacio, all those guys. And sorry, I'll say everybody na lang. JJ, Dino, Neil, Jerry, um, Vicentino, and Mike Rica. That's the original crew. Um, we were friends with Avid's brother, Eric, who was a photographer. And then one day he goes, "Oh, you should meet my brother." Little did we know that little Avid was this boy genius. You were in college, but you're younger, right? You're younger than you went to college younger.
No, it was proper college age.
Talaga. Kasi,
But it was JJ who first asked me. So the first time I went to the studio, JJ, your partner, asked me, so what do you want to do? And what are your plans? I've never thought about it, but dun ko lang sinabi na I want to do cartoons. But it's like we don't do cartoons, but someday you could do cartoons. So, ano.
oh, it's
So
good because
yeah,
yeah, we had the equipment and the
yeah.
software, so you could play and learn from people like Dino, I guess. Um, you were already taking fine arts though,
Yeah,
right?
I was in fine arts. I was in college when I worked pretty much full time so that was my baon money. So
My gosh, it was very casual, guys. It was very casual. The work was real, but it was very casual in the office back then. Kasi feeling Google. Di ba? Ganun.
feeling startup.
Oo, feeling startup. Did you always know that you wanted to become an animator or work in, because you were always drawing and you come from a family of artists.
Yeah.
Um, but curiously, you all do different kinds of art. Your dad was a painter, a famous painter, and then your brother's a photographer. Your sister is also an artist, right? What does she do?
She's like an interior designer. I think that's the closest thing. Designer slash interior. Like she works more in spaces and physical things.
Oh wow, how cool! So you are the animator, drawing guy, and all that stuff. When did that start? Ever since you were little, or what's your earliest
Uh,
memory of
I, I
dabbling in art?
I started in It was because of in college and back in fine arts, everybody who I went to school with was in a band, and I also wanted to play music, but I was terrible at it. So I ended up making music videos for my classmates who ended up in bands that became famous, like Kamikaze, Moonstar, Parokya. So that was pretty much like so how I got into film. So video. It was like making. I was just working on making music videos. So and it was always it wasn't I was in, the stuff I made was always a mix of animation and live action. So it was always like a multimedia thing because I'm not straight up. I wasn't a film student. I was a fine art student. So when I dabbled in video work, it was always adding illustrations and little cartoons. Ganun. So yeah, so coming from doing music videos for my classmates, I ended up doing advertising and I wanted to work on a film. Then self-funded that film. That ate up all of my youth. Then here,
Yeah, guys, but when I logged on with Avid today, I was like, yo, when did you get old? He has like a streak like mine, which is natural. And so when did you get that gray hair, man?
yeah. So I grew this my rogue streak in when we released Saving Sally, my first film in 2016, because I thought it would that after spending 12 years making one single film, that everything after that will be easy. That all you need to do is make a film and build it and they will watch. But apparently that's not how it works. Apparently the hardest lesson we learned was that making a film is just 50% of the work. The other half is getting people to watch it. So we had a crash course in distribution and how to get permits and printing posters and promotions. It was a very hard baptismal of fire in producing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
plus
so
getting funding. I remember early on all the things you
yeah, I
did, all
mean,
the kick.
funding is yeah. I thought making the film was the hardest part because funding is so hard. You need to sell your internal organs, or you know, you need to sell some lungs and kidneys, or service old people. But
Yo.
so after all that hardship of getting the indie hardship of finding funding and making a film with minimal resources, you'd think everything after that is easy, but the release is much harder because getting it doesn't matter how good your film is, getting somebody to buy a ticket and watch your film is another entirely different world. So that's distribution. So and also just a simple thing of getting a government rating or a permit to screen, or just gather press people in one room so they could write about your film is it's just this massive uh, uh, unknown world to me and my team that we had to learn on the fly. So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
so it was like
So speaking of Saving Sally, which yes, I remember even before you had made it. And honestly, I do recall like a lot of those drawings. So it's a two there's humans interacting with a animated world, and there's
yeah,
monsters and stuff. I do recall like being at the studio with you, and these were some of your drawings. Like you can
yeah.
recognize it. So it kind of it was in your head. So tell me about the story of Saving Sally, because I know you're the guy.
Actually, no.
Wishful thinking that you're the guy, or what? I mean, is it the story? Was the story yours, or there was a short story it was based on, right?
My friend Charlene wrote it, and I there are three of us who wrote on it. Me, Carlo Ledesma, you know Carlo, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. Poggy. So it was sure it was me. The short story was written by Charlene, my classmate who's my classmate. Then Carlo came in to write the screenplay, and then I came in to just write more scenes and stuff like that. So there were three of us. So it's three story. So it was not autobiographical or anything like that. It's just ano lang, makakornihan naming tatlo. So it's like all our youths combined into one story. If anything, the boy is the girl actually. The female writer is the boy. It's that's a
Oh, that's true. That's
specific
true. That's true. Right, 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 right. You would be the gadgety girl.
parang ganon.
That's true.
Mas ano, or at one point I was the villain, yung the older
Yes, I think you were all at some point.
the older person dating a young girl. That actually fitted me more while we were
Oh my
working on it.
gosh. And when you first told me though the concept of the guy's a dick, so I really did not know. I said, oh my gosh, is this gonna be weird and gross? But it isn't. It's very, very, very sweet. So it's also on Netflix Asia now if you guys want to see it.
It's on Netflix Asia, South, pretty much everywhere except North Am. It'll come to North Am someday.
VPN. Ah, okay. No, so yeah, if you guys can see it, do watch it. It's sweet. I showed parts of it to my kid who's now 19, Avid, the little boy you met, and he's like, "Oh, I remember you telling me about this years ago." I go, "Well, it's finally done." Um, so when you finished that, did it feel like you gave birth? Nanganak ka? Parang relief?
Yeah, like
Or what was it like?
Yun nga, like I was saying, I thought it was another, after all those years of hardship of making that film. I thought it was going to be easy, but then we were faced with harder things to do, like trying to get, like get cinemas to play it. I spent Christmas Day at the headquarters of MMDA, just haggling with cinema owners to look. Where I'd be showing them a laptop. Look, people in Albay want to watch it. They keep
Oh,
messaging us
wow.
on. So ganun siya. It's like speed dating, but with cinema owners, and you show them that there's potential. Please play our film. So we had to mount this grassroots like like online call to get our film played by
Oh,
the
yeah, like
cinema.
people had to request to see it,
Yeah. So we had to tell people, you know how people are. They're like, why isn't it showing here? And they talk to you like it's your fault. And we were like, all the whole team was like a call center, just answering that we need to
Wow.
let you know, you need to let your cinemas know that you want to see the film, because they don't think we are something people would watch. So we started at like 25 cinemas, then we ended the run at like 75. So parang we were able to grow it, still
Okay.
not as big as a
But
commercial
was this
release, but
so it wasn't automatic after you won the film festival, Manila Film Festival, right?
no, they give you 25 cinemas.
Oh,
And
okay.
then parang that's what you're guaranteed. Then we had to work on getting more. So
Ooh.
ano, it's a parang yun nga, I spent Christmas Day, the days of Christmas in the MMD, in the MMFF office, just talking to the
People.
cinema owners,
Yeah,
yeah.
cinema owners.
The cinema operators, not the owners, because the owners, of course, will not be there, but
Wow.
the operators. So you're talking
So
to all these titos, begging them to watch, to play your film. So yung may ganon. So it's
and
and
they're like,
then
"What? Cartoons? Cartoons ba yan?" Ganon. How do you
you know,
explain that?
uh, yun nga, so you just had to show. I'll show. I brought my, I had my laptop. I'll be showing them. Oh, there's demand. There are messages in there. So please
Wow.
play it. So ganon. And because originally um, we were supposed to be distributed by ABS, by Star Cinema,
Mm-hmm.
but it was, and that was before I had this meeting with their big boss, who said, "Okay, we'll release this film. We'll support it. We'll do the whole campaign for it. We'll have the full release treatment."
Yeah.
But so it was great. So parang I um but the next meeting I had with ABS was with their distribution department, and the distribution department gave me a bit, like this slip of how much I needed to pay. It's like, I thought you were distributing. So
What?
parang I needed like 500,000 upfront for these expenses, ganyan. Parang, so of course I said, no, I don't have that money. And I went with a smaller distributor who
Oh,
who does not have um the marketing arm as ABS did,
SABS, yeah.
as ABS. So tas nung nalaman ng big boss that I went with this small um
Hmm.
uh distribution company, tawag siya kagad, "What happened? I thought we had a deal. Bakit mo ako sinisingil?" I was like,
Oh,
"Why?"
yeah, yeah.
And then and then and then it went silent. And then and then she called people up, and it turned out it was a misunderstanding because her assistant was not in our meeting when she said all that things that what she wanted to do. So
Oh
the assistant thought that I was just going into their distribution arm as a regular
no. Like
dis,
a random person. Yeah.
random person, that he arranged the meeting, that okay, this is the film and I want ABS to distribute it, and this is how
Oh,
much it would cost. So it was a misunderstanding. So we were left on our own. So we had to hold our own events. We had to promote on our own. Um, but the nice thing about that was we ended up with more money because we had less exposure,
right.
but we had a bigger part of the pie. You get what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Right.
because had ABS distributed our film, we'd have been drowned by their expenses.
Right, right,
You,
right.
you
You were
get what I'm saying?
very
So
lean and mean. Yeah. Wait, so while you were doing all this, you were still doing your commercial work also?
yes, the films that I make, that we work on, are always funded by advertising. I work
Yeah.
I work in advertising. I do all the forgettable commercials.
I saw the
Every
Nescafe one. That's not forgettable. So,
I maybe do 1 in 20 that is worth sharing, but most of it is forgettable. I mean, it's just work. But
okay, okay.
I so I'm so the money, I'd probably be very rich if I weren't trying to make films, like if I was just doing commercials. But the money I make doing commercials goes into the salaries of my staff who work on the films that we're doing in house, because we're still trying to figure out how to make this whole animation thing sustainable. Because
How about motion capture? If you built a motion capture studio kind of
uh,
thing,
not
maybe.
not not for us, not for the Philippine setting. I mean,
Ah, okay. Um, so the other thing that's admirable, so you finish a film, you're still working as a commercial director, and the one I'm proud of, like seeing you all grown up, is you have a company, you employ people who depend on you, Avid.
yes.
How did they trust you? In the beginning, I remember Rocketsheep was like people you went to school with and stuff. Is it
Yeah.
much bigger now? How big is the company? And
No, we're still small. We're just a 5-man team. Over the years, people always ask me to scale, want to invest and scale
mm-mm,
up, but I never wanted that. I like having the option of not working,
mm-hmm.
because you start, once you get bigger and you work in, um, let's say you move to Makati and do more service work,
Mm.
you're constantly fighting for your overhead. We operate out of a kitchen, out of my house. We've always operated small, but like my my lead artist has a house now and a car and is a kid that's
Oh,
10 years old. So parang we're able to build lives naman, but I didn't want, because what I want to make are films, and not be constantly doing service work. We still do that. That is what keeps us afloat. But someday we'd like to figure out how this whole original creation of cartoons will support us. I mean, just be there. But and I can't do that if I have a big company that is constantly fighting for, constantly trying to keep afloat with, the overhead, with a big
yeah, yeah.
office and 100 employees. And that's always been, people have always wanted to come in and scale us up. But I said, I like being able to take these stupid risks. We may not have made big money in the projects that we've done, but we're not in debt either.
Oh, cool, cool.
I mean, everybody is paid. I get to buy pizza and play video games. So and my dogs get good health care. So we're
It's
okay.
a good
I mean,
life. Yeah, it's a good life. How
and
cool.
and and if anything, the pandemic showed it's like we were in such a good position because we didn't have an expensive office that was gonna sit 200,000 pesos monthly for
Yeah.
an office that you can't use. So suddenly we just sent everyone home. Here are the computers, and then we were operating. We weren't, and only one of us was not working, and we were still we're able to pay his salary still, even if he's not working. So yeah, so it's like my life choices were like suddenly validated by. I mean, that's sad. It's
Yeah.
a sad thing to say, but I mean, it's there. I'm not saying it was genius. It's more like dumb luck na that we weren't in a bad position when the pandemic happened. We were very able to
Right,
quickly
right,
able
right.
to adapt.
Speaking of pandemic, so how are you? It's lockdown. Are you really like locked down? You don't go out, or for a while, right? In the Philippines, you couldn't go out at all.
At all.
Um,
Yeah.
so how are you? How did you cope? Like daily life, work life, and then that super fertile imagination of yours. Did it go somewhere different during pandemic? And one of the doggos is right there. Hello,
Yes.
you doggy.
Hello, Larry. This is Larry, the rescue dog. Well, we've been working. So yun nga, we were lucky enough to have one of the few studios who were able to fully operate during the pandemic. So we were busy. We've been working. Uh, of course, getting paid is hard, but we're working.
Okay, so how about on a personal level? Like, it's really hard when you're not interacting like for you with your team in person.
Well, I have a lot of like
Na-depress
household.
ka ba?
Hindi. Because I have a lot of suddenly I have a lot of household chores. I have to there's no one you can hire to clean your roof. Um Stuff like that. So and 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 I had to take on a lot of work because some people I had no assistant to do yung payroll ng mga
Oh,
artists and stuff
okay.
like that. So I was doing payroll, I had to do a lot more work because we were gutted. We had to adjusting to the pandemic meant I had to do more work basically.
Oh,
I had to be um, the one to send out the files because I used to have somebody in our studio who would gather all the files to send to the other artists. But since I was the one left in the studio, I'd be the one to parang suddenly ako yung grand central nung
wow, wow, wow.
coordination. So,
How
yeah,
about
so
yun? Creatively, did you explore new themes, new drawing styles, new anything? Started
I
cooking?
I I I I had to because we couldn't I normally buy food outside, but since yung nga, the pandemic happened, I had to learn to cook. So I cook adobo that would last for 2 weeks. Mga ganun, yung ano.
I've seen some of your crazy food experiments.
Yeah, I have a hit ratio of about 70%. 70% of the time it's decent and 30% it's terrible. So okay na rin. So
Well, you're eating. That's good.
yeah.
Um,
So
you used to draw every day, like the Project 365 stuff. Are you still drawing every day?
not the pandemic I can't draw. I guess that's where the anxiety shows up. Like I'm still able to work, but I can't do anything personal. I haven't been able to draw it's parang the whole pandemic time. I'm able to do give creative direction. I'm able to still
Oh,
direct, but yung drawing is very personal, so I can't draw. I haven't been,
wow. Wow. No, that's cool. That's like me. Suddenly, I started speaking Tagalog and eating only Asian food. It's very, during this time, it's very weird. Our brain does weird things. Diba? Parang that's how you cope. Anyway, so from Saving Sally, you knew how hard that whole journey was. And yet you started a new film, Hayup
yeah.
Ka. So tell us like that because it's different. It's animals and stuff.
Well,
Versus the
Hayup Ka
story.
was really just this. while we were finishing up Saving Sally, we were stuck in traffic, and then we heard this. Um, we were listening to AM radio because we got tired of listening to music. So me and my lead artist, we were like listening to this AM radio drama, and then of course sa radio drama, parating you always hear the ubiquitous line of "Hayup Ka." And it's like, hey, that would be cool if we actually made them into animals. So it was really just that. It was just we thought it was a such a stupid novel idea to tell your standard telenovela in animal form. So and we that's what we did. So Saving Sally took 12 years. This one took 3 years. So yay, progress.
Yay, yes, you're doing it faster. Kasi walang
Faster.
baka, was it faster because there's no humans? Because that was
No,
part of
faster
it.
because we knew we were a bit smarter this time. Like we knew the pipeline. Uh, we knew how to do it better this time. We still are learning, uh, and maaga ako nakipag-partner with a proper studio who brought in the artistas, who brought in additional funding. It was still mostly funded by our studio,
Mhm.
but everything else was to be covered by the partner, Spring Films. That's
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Piolo Pascual's company. So they brought the deal was I make the film and they market it,
Oh,
you know.
cool. Yeah, so
So but
taking
of
care
course
of the stuff that you didn't really, that you don't like to
I
do.
don't want to do. I didn't want to do anymore. Like I'm never doing that again. I'm never doing the business side again. So I just want to stick to the creative side this time. So we partnered with Piolo Pascual's company, and yeah,
Cool. How come he's not in the movie then?
he's in the movie.
Oh, I'm not that. I did not one of the lead voices though.
No,
Um,
actually, he's the DJ,
Really?
the one who yung pinagalitan si Nimfa. That's Papa P.
Oh, I'm not familiar with all the voices. Like I didn't even I wasn't there when Sam Milby became a big thing. So I had to ask my sister, "Hey, who's the voice of the guy?" Goes that's Sam Milby. I go, "Oh, because the husky sounds so guapo." Like,
He is guapo.
yeah. I know. So will you do that again? Is Piolo part of, do you have that arrangement with either his company or another marketing company for Zaza Saturna, your next project?
For Jaja, it's partnered with a French producer, so that one because when we did Hayup Ka, we knew it was a film for the Philippines, talaga. So
Mm.
I partnered with a Filipino, somebody who knew theatrical. It was meant to be a theatrical film, so I wanted to work with somebody who one was indie friendly, and I didn't, and two, um, yun nga, knew how to distribute films. Kasi Piola's company is called Spring Films, and they did one of the biggest independent Filipino films that and every film should watch, which is Kita Kita. It's a
I
great
love
film.
that. That's the one in Japan.
Ganda nun, diba?
I love that movie. I didn't even know who produced it. I only knew who
That's
Alessandra was.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's Spring Films.
oh, it's good. Yeah.
So ano sila and the thing I like about Spring Films is they are very mainstream, but they let the filmmaker do their thing. Like
Oh,
for
cool.
example, Kita Kita spent 1 year in editing, so which is unheard of for
Parang indie mindset for a mainstream company.
yes, for a mainstream company sila where they have the mainstream access to the artistas, but they let the filmmakers so
Oh,
do
cool.
their thing. So with Hayop Ka, it was they waited 3 years for it, so which is unheard of for that's
So
not
no
something.
pressure. Yeah, they didn't say,
Yeah,
hurry up, you got to do it. Shout
yeah,
out
just
Lola
the,
Pascual. Okay.
Mhm.
Um,
That actually see Spring Films is three people.
mhm,
It's Direct Joyce Bernal,
mhm.
Piola Pascual, and the person I talk to the most is Erickson Raimundo, who's a really cool showbiz person, one of the few showbiz people completely trust because he's a talent manager.
Mhm.
He has another company called Cornerstone, and he manages Yan Constantino, Sam Milby, Rachel Ango. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I've seen her face. She's beautiful. I know
And
who she is.
she's in Hamilton in West End.
Yeah.
Um, he's a very the person I talked to the most who wanted into the project is yun nga,
Nice.
si Erickson, who introduced me to the rest of the team. There are three people, so they're like three big showbiz people: talent manager, director, and actor.
Oh,
So
that's brilliant.
so
Yeah.
they're and but
Would you ever direct, because you are a director, you've done commercials, you've done music videos, would you ever direct a human feature film, like with live actors?
I was supposed to do one right after Saving Sally. I was supposed to work on this film called Kung Paano Ako Naging Leading Lady. It's a story of isang um, of this maid of this katulong who works for a superhero.
Ah, cute.
Parang may Justice League,
Mm-mm.
may superhero team, and it's about their maid who works for them, and one of the superheroes fall in love with her. So it's like a wag po koya kind of thing.
Oh, what
It was
happened? That has to be made. That's cute.
we have a script. It's written by Carlo Vergara, the same guy who did Jaja Zaturna.
Mm-hmm.
So kasi right after Saving Sally, I got offers and I had a choice where I wanted to work. I said I wanted to work. It's based on a graphic novel then
Yes.
and
Yep.
also a musical. So I said I want to work on this and I had the choice between working with ABS or Regal Films for that film,
Hmm.
and I figured sige, I'll go with Regal for this because um Regal Films lets their directors direct.
What? So Jaja
No, no,
or the
yung
leading lady
yung
one? Yeah.
leading lady thing. It was meant to be a Regal project. So we were supposed and we did a lot of work on it. We've done a lot of pre-prod. It was supposed to be Sam Milby as well. We did a lot of pre-prod and it was supposed to be more expensive than a regular uh, Regal films because it will have a lot of visual effects. And they
Oh.
were really, they really wanted to do it. But then I think while we were in pre-prod, they had a bunch of films that didn't do well. So
Oh.
medyo natakot sila to
Invest in your
yeah
research.
to continue the film. It's officially not dead because it's still there. So um but we're considering like we're waiting around for the rights to lapse. So that's why I wanted to produce after I didn't want because when you produce a film yourself, even if it takes long, you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to the IP owner of Jaja, which is Carlo as well. I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I want to produce this on myself. I don't want to rely on a company. So I purchased the rights to make Jaja Zaturna on my own. So and
But
that's what
for the are you using any music from the musical, or that's a
no
different?
no it's more of a straight adaptation of the graphic novel. The musical works as a musical. Uh,
Hmm.
and it's a
Interesting.
great musical. So we're and it's going to be in English kasi we partnered with a French producer. So it has its eye on but we'll also have a Tagalog dub for it kasi pag cartoons mas madali it's
Magdub.
not as
Oo.
awkward as dubbing live action. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's meant to be an English language film, Jaja Saturna. So yeah, so that's what we're
So are
working
we
on.
on year one of Zaza Zaturna?
Yeah, we're in year one. We've been going around and looking for partners for it. But since we won a bunch of grants for it, I recorded recently the guide track for it. So we're working on the very first stage of it. It's called an animatic, where
Mhm.
you put you time the voices against the drawings muna. So it's just
Okay.
black and white, but we get the feel of the pacing of the scene. So and we're talking to a bunch of international partners so it's going to be a project that's done here in France and maybe Canada. We'll see kung
Ooh,
who comes in.
you should
So
have like a mini site or something just to do the keep track of the work in progress. See, my marketing brain is thinking that.
oh, we do. I mean, our Rocketsheep page constantly posts our.
Yeah. No, but I meant to brand it just Jaja since it's its own entity. Well, in the Philippines it's known, but for other countries if you're going for that. That would be cool. Para ma-intriga sila.
Yeah.
Yun lang. Cool. So what do you think? 3 years for that one?
Yeah, three.
Dapat two. Kasi di ba you're shaving years of
No,
it.
no, no. There's a equilibrium point that's as fast as you can go. It can be
Mm.
done in 2 years with like 30% with a 30% higher budget. So we have a budget for 3 years and we have a budget for 2 years. So if
Oh,
we
cool.
yeah, but um I'd rather do it over 3 years and we don't incur a bigger budget because I don't like holding massive amounts of money. Because the more money you take in, the more beholden you are to
More
people.
people. Yeah, more
Yeah.
people.
So more cooks.
How cool. So where do you see yourself after Zaza, like 5 years from now?
Well, we're working on another project. So basically we have the 7 year plan. Like
Okay, okay.
so because animation takes so long. I mean, every film takes about 3 years. So while we're working on the way we did it, it's like this. So we did Saving Sally first in
Yep.
English. It's very niche. It's very we just wanted to get that done. Okay, let's do when we did Hayup Ka, I'll do Tagalog siya. It's very crass, very masa, but still it's in cartoon. So we're just trying out different things. So parang
Mm-mm.
uh, then we're doing Jaja, which is kind of the middle of the two things. It's gonna be in English, but still gonna have this mass appeal. So we'll see where that takes us. Then our fourth project is this medyo art film na um, it's an adaptation of this graphic novel called Light Lost. It's by my friend Rob Cham. You can find the book in Amazon, and you can also check it out, look it
Yeah,
up
yeah.
on Google because I have a teaser up. And so Jaja and Light Lost are two animated projects that are very different from each other that are in different stages of
Okay.
that. So Jaja has been written, has a great script. Light Lost is being written and rewritten to because it's going to be this so Jaja Saturna is basically about this gay guy who swallows a rock that transforms him into a flamboyant female superhero. So
Mhm.
very novel yung concept niya. Light Lost is this it's a story of friendship about two friends who get separated across the universe and they
Oh,
have to look for each other only to find out that when they come back together that they're very different from who they were. So
oh
it's this
wow.
little
Cool.
meditation on relationships and love and friendship. So it's not something that screams like like it's not funny.
Yep.
It's you get on, but it's medyo and it's not gonna have any dialogue. So ano siya, silent film siya. So it's very parang gano'n. So parang
Do you think
oh,
stylistically you're gonna change up also? Because like right now, all your work is super colorful, very detailed.
ano that we that's our brand. We're
Okay, so
very colorful,
yeah.
very detailed. So but yun nga, so we did the rom-com, we did the romantic teenage film. So we
Mhm.
did the trashy soap
I
opera
know when I
parody.
saw this soap opera, this Hayup Ka, I go, "Ay, bastos! Oh my God!" Ah. But then, of course, you'll only get it if you're Filipino, because the visual
Or Spanish, or Spanish. Like
some.
it plays really well in with the Spanish speaking
Oh, right,
people
right.
because if you're as long as you're familiar with the telenovela, you
Mm,
know the tropes. So when I first presented Hayop Ka actually in Spain, um, and I was in an auditorium because I was traveling with Saving Sally for festivals, and in one festival had like a project market, a
mhm.
project where where you talk about your project and you get feedback from the audience. So I was presenting Hayop Ka for the first time to a bunch of Spaniards, and I had a whole auditorium laughing with the concept
Oh,
because they
cool. They got it.
understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, they totally got it. The whole, um, but at the same time, you expose it to a Westerner na na woke or ano that's this is misogynist kasi may nagsampalan,
Oh.
nagmumurahan. So it's very nakakatawa nga when we were working on that film and we had this. We showed the first cut of it to an international. We were part of a workshop that was sponsored by the Film Development Council of the Philippines. It's just
Mm-hmm.
to um, you expose it to experts from other parts of the world so that you get their buy-in to the
Mm-hmm.
viability of the project. So
Cool.
we showed it to them, very, very rough cut. And then right after we played it and the lights went on, one of our um, one of our panelists was this Polish feminist filmmaker who
Oh.
distributes and produces films. It's like, and the first thing she said to us, like, I want to hit you guys because I want to slap you guys because I was laughing despite myself. So she knew it, like it was against everything she stood for, but
Yeah.
yeah, but she was laughing because it's not to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
It's
It's quite
telenovela.
funny.
It's a trope. It's like people slap each other and say terrible things to one another,
Uh-huh.
and it
Uh-huh.
exists. That melodrama exists in that. People are exist in that world. So yeah, so if people watch it, they need to know beforehand that this is a telenovela and it's a parody, and
Yeah.
please don't take it seriously because
Exactly.
you're going to.
Lighten up, people. Lighten up. It'll make you smile. Um, so now that parang you're now a senior in this field of animation and stuff like that in the industry, what advice would you give to like a young avid who says, "I just want to work in cartoons"?
It's learn the boring stuff, the very, very boring stuff, because of course any animator already is studying actively, like how to animate, how to be a good animator, how to and learn and stories and creativity. I'm sure anybody who wants to get into the industry is looking into that. But what a lot of animators, young animators, Filipino animators don't ever learn or look into is labor rights and all that stuff. Because um, you know, passionate individuals are always easy prey for business people because they know you are just excited to work. And we have, we have there's so I work with a lot of young people because they a lot of university students like interning with us. Then I
Mm-hmm.
find out later and magsusumbong sila sa akin how badly they're treated
Oh
in the
man.
companies that they work for because they didn't know that their labor rights are, like a Filipino animator, young Filipino animators work 12 hours a day, 6 days
Yeah.
a week, and make below minimum wage. They don't know what minimum wage is. They don't know what work hours are. They don't get overtime pay because they're just so excited to work with the cartoons that they like. So, so I always tell, or read up on labor laws so you know your laws. Uh, I support, I help out in this worker association called the Philippine Animation Workers
Mhm.
Association, and
Okay.
it's made up of very young people who go to Congress to get backing, to
Oh,
para
cool.
marinig ng
Wow.
mga congressman yung what's happening, and para rin, and they hold workshops on worker rights. So they're really cool. So I help out with that organization. Yun nga, so every time somebody ask me what they should learn, I say, learn all about your taxes, learn all about your benefits, what you
Mm.
are due as a worker. Kasi sobrang daming uh, ang dali-daling it's so easy
Take
to
advantage of them.
take advantage of there's this there are companies there are companies who perfected the vicious cycle. So you hire young people, and
Hmm.
by the time they wisen up, they're tired and they move on. Then you already have young people to hire again. So
Oh
kasi
man.
they either get promoted. Ano yan eh, it's a lot like slavery. So
Yeah.
you get your field Negroes and your house Negroes. Once the house Negroes keep the field Negroes in line because once you promote somebody from inside, this person
Mhm.
tells this is you could be me, but it's not
Yeah.
real, right? So
Yeah.
so
Wow. Well, I'm sure that's not the only industry in the Philippines that needs help, but that's encouraging that the young people are trying to do something. And then it's up to us older people, maybe in the schools, to start teaching this stuff. Because honestly, diba, it's
Yeah, actually,
you
every
don't
time,
learn about finances, you don't learn about taxes or the boring
yes,
stuff, like you said, and that's something we all need.
or contracts. Yun nga, parang a lot of the young people sign these contracts and they're so afraid of the contract that they signed. And it blows their mind when they realize that um, a contract is not above the law. So if what you signed is illegal, which many of the contracts are, because what a lot of them sign are like, oh, you are bound to our company for 2 years, but you are not assured salary. Parang ganun. So parang they
Oh
sign
my
it,
gosh. Oh.
it's so
Oh.
one-sided. So parang you don't, and kasi natatakot sila, they're threatened by, if you leave our company before your contract is up, you'll need to pay 200,000 pesos for your education, for your training, stuff like that. Kids
Yeah.
get, so they're super scared. But um what they don't know is that is an illegal contract, and
Yeah.
the contract, even if you sign it, it's not above the law.
Yeah.
So
It's not binding since it's
it's not
illegal in the
binding
first place.
simply because you signed it. The legality needs to be scrutinized.
Wow.
So
Did you learn this the hard way yourself about
no,
contract?
I've always worked for my,
Oh, you've always
I
worked for yourself. That's true. It's true.
yeah. So, but I learned it through my interns who were victims of this abuse. So I take a look at their contracts and I brought it to labor lawyers, and they said this is
Oh.
onerous. It's
Oh, okay, okay. So
but
you help them out that way by asking
not
a lawyer, ganun, ganun.
that's the thing. That's the hard part. Like so there was this one time that my in one company, my critical mass, that this is wrong. We should not.
Yeah.
They were like they were banding together, but
Mhm.
yun nga it's but then they got scared. They didn't want the company to go down. They didn't want to lose work.
Yeah, yeah.
So I used to be like I used to think that that company needs to go down. I used to fan the flames, but then I realized later on that okay, we don't want to bring down any company. We want better working conditions. So, and that's hard because
Hmm.
again, you have people inside who've been promoted
Mhm.
who fight against the, like you could earn as big as we do. Ganun yung
Wow,
ano,
weird, no? Dapat, di ba, dapat once they've been promoted and they realize, oh, I was treated this badly, they should break the cycle. So I
it's
guess that,
not. It's the
yeah, that's the
housemaid
point.
and
Oh.
slave thing. It still works. I mean,
Well,
eh, it's capitalism. Like the
I
whole
have
work.
hope. Baka may mga woke na kabataan dyan na magiging boss, so baka magbago na. But what do you call this? You remember nga, like before in the 90s, how suddenly there were Filipino comic book people, they were trained and whatever, and so they're working here now. I feel like just watching what's going on in animation, I think that's the next big export, or the next big driver,
Ah,
and
no, no,
that's why
no.
I think you should fix that, like that situation has
We
to be fixed.
we already have, that's what I'm saying. We already have massive export. We have a
Mhm.
very strong and massive animation industry,
Yes, yeah.
but just like in comics, they're working for the foreign companies, not
Yes.
creating
Our own.
local stuff. So
Mm.
that's and and that's where all the labor abuse
Happen.
happens because
Kasi parang
it,
sweatshop.
sweatshop. Maraming ganon. But although I also know a lot of big companies that are good,
Yeah.
that do things well, but there are also a lot of those in the sidelines
Don't
who
do well. So
who
are
don't
you one
follow.
of the few that produce original Filipino content?
We are one of the few because we're small enough to take the risk because what everybody wants to know is how do you turn a profit doing original Filipino content? We don't know yet.
We don't
So
know yet. Yeah. And so,
we're so far all we've done is break even and stay afloat. Okay, that's why saving salary, not going with it was kind of like a, I don't know, maybe we ended up with more money than we would have if we had been distributed largely.
yeah, yeah.
So the money that we made from saving Sally went into Hayup Ka. And then the money we're making from that, we all because nga, it was a pandemic, we just had to take whatever sale we could. But so we're just breaking even. So the money that goes into the next project. So it's like having a cup and just we're not over. We haven't
Baka,
overflown the
okay,
cup.
so for Zaza, baka you can have merch. Can you make money off of merch since it's a, or would
We'll
that
see.
be Carlos IP then? Would that go to?
We're hoping, like, for example, like for Hayup Ka, we have merch. We have a merch store, but since it's an adult thing, so it's not something that's easily available. Merch works well if you do an
A
IP
kids
for
thing.
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for
so
sure.
we'll get there. Maybe for our fourth project, that's what will work for merch.
Baka you
But
should just do a quick 10-minute short that's just for kids. That kind of thing.
yeah,
Parang,
we're not super interested in that yet.
okay.
Like, we like, that's what I meant about not scaling up. Like, we still like to do the things that we want to do. I mean, once you scale up, then you think in terms of sales.
Mm-hmm.
We're still very indie rock and roll about this yet. I mean,
I know.
we're responsible. We're not spending money we don't have, but we're also not in the business of being in business.
No,
We're
that's
not
cool.
thinking.
No, that's cool. I mean, you're sticking to it. You're sticking to your plan. You're sticking to you know, your principles, and that's very
It's not
admirable.
really principles.
Not
We're
not
not
principles
doing.
like not principio, but I meant like this
Yeah.
is how you think, this is your plan, and yeah, at least you're not getting tempted to do, oh, let's do this, let's do that. But let's put it this way, you're very focused, you and your team, and I think one of the lucky things is that you found these people that you're rocket sheep people. Like parang that's so cool, and that is what I miss about binary soup. Parang the mind meld of like-minded people. Now you have this goal and you believe in what you're doing. That's awesome. And I guess in that way you are lucky you found people like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Di ba?
Like,
That's why I see you don't, I can see why you would hesitate to scale up, because what if they're not like like those people you have now?
no, I mean, when you scale up, you're concerned about bottom lines. I don't. I mean, of course, I'm concerned about those things. I mean, I always worry about getting paid and making sure everybody gets paid. But we're not. We don't think of our bottom line with everything we do. Because the bottom line is we're always. We have very little overhead. All I need to worry about is salaries
So
and licenses.
would you say that's the artist in you? May pagka pure. Because
Very much. Like, I'm not. I always say I'm a terrible businessman because I'm an artist first, and everything we do is like is informed by the output. We don't really think in terms of, let's do this to make money. Let's do that. It's always, let's do this so we can make something nice out of it. Of course, we do a bunch of stuff that are pangit, but
but like you said, it's to
to
pay the bills. We
to pay
gotta
the bills.
you
Yeah,
gotta do
yeah,
those jobs.
yeah.
Yeah. At saka your name's not on it naman mali. It's not like it's a commercial, so you're not, I can see like the pride of the films, because it's your work, your name's on it, your stamps on it. I know you love toys, so I have a question. Pandemic, any new toys that you got during this time?
No, I like those are one of the things I stopped. I didn't purchase anything during the
Wow,
pandemic.
control. Oh,
Control and just put it into, people are don't have um are scrounging up for meals. So if you could, like, donate it to somewhere. So medyo nahiya ako to it was my birthday recently, and it happened during Ulysses. So it's like,
yes.
okay, I'm not splurging today. I normally would splurge on something because I deserve it, but this money will go better with other people. So just put it,
Oh my
just put it.
God, you're so grown up na talaga. Oh, how were you guys nung Ulysses? Kasi like Marikina got flooded.
Yeah, it's
What happened
lucky because uh, for me, you just didn't have electricity for 24 hours, so it's fine. And I just, like, marami lang foliage na nahulog. just needed to clean a lot afterwards. But we're very lucky to not have been affected by that. So
Yeah,
that's why I didn't splurge on my birthday, because it's like already lucky. So put that
very
elsewhere
cool,
na lang.
very cool. Yeah, taking things into perspective. Okay, we are now at the part where I ask you 10 questions that I ask every guest. They're James Lipton's questions. It was the actor studio. He was this very serious guy, and he would ask these 10 questions. So, stream of consciousness, whatever comes to mind. First question, pwedeng Tagalog, pwedeng English. What is
Mhm.
your favorite word?
Right now, I think it's ubiquity. I don't
Whoa.
know, 'cause I
Okay,
say it a lot. The ubiquity, so because it sounds deep and it rolls off your tongue really nice. I think ubiquity, yeah.
wow, I can't even use that so often in, in everyday speech, and you can do it. What is your least favorite word?
Concern.
Hmm. What
Because I hear that a lot in advertising. When you hear the word concern, that means I'm gonna have to change something. So
Oh, like I have a concern, ganon.
yeah, it's a euphemism for you need to change this. So
Ooh.
when people say I have a concern, so it's like when people say, diba, as per my last email,
Oh.
so it's corporate speak
Oh
for
my
yeah,
God.
you need to change this.
Okay, what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally? Turns you on.
I don't know, dog pictures.
Talaga.
Like,
Okay, what turns you off?
sad dog pictures, abuse.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. What is your favorite curse word, English or Tagalog?
Hayup ka.
It's not really a curse. Okay.
It is a curse. You can't say, sabihin mo yan sa nanay mo. Well, your mom is in heaven.
Animal ka. Does that sound awesome? Okay, what sound or noise do you love?
The sound of frying bacon.
Biglang narinig ko rin yun.
Diba?
What sound or noise do you hate?
Yung, my door, it sometimes little rocks get under it, and then you push it, and then you hear the screech. It's little rocks that screech on marble floor.
Ooh.
So that hurts. So I hate that every time that happens.
Okay, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Shawarma stall.
Yung nagluluto. The stall owner. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. You
And
could still
then
do that. Side hustle, di ba? What profession would you not like to do?
not like medical, anything to do with medicine. 'Cause it's
Oh.
hard.
Are you okay with blood and stuff or no?
No.
Okay. Okay, the last question is if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
All your dogs are here.
Well,
uh,
that's perfect.
everybody, yeah.
That's perfect because all dogs go to heaven, di ba?
Yes, supposedly.
Dapat i-remake mo yung moving yan. All dogs go to heaven. Filipino style. Dogs.
sila, sila bantay sa langit.
Oh, cute, cute, cute. Anyway, so thank you so much. I've taken too much of your time. It's fun to catch up and we support you. We'll try to really promote you and hype you up here over in the US. I think the younger generation, like Filipino Americans, they're gonna see your work, be impressed. And also it's fun, it's interesting because your films are very like the heart is international, it's universal, diba? The stories of love and things like that. But you can see in his artwork and in the background and all that, those really little touches of being Pinoy
Mhm.
that you maybe it's the first time you're going to discover it or rediscover it inside you. So yay.
Yay! So,
Yay. Hindi, ay, Korean pala yan.
this is the big heart. This is McDonald's. Sa atin to, when I first saw this, why is everybody doing McDo? Apparently,
McDonald's. Hindi, ganito.
this McDonald's to us, this 90s. But
Oo.
pero this actually means big heart, apparently.
Ganon.
Because this is
Ako
well,
maliit lang yung heart.
this is small heart, medium heart, and then this is your big heart.
Tama. Ay.
But it's McDo, di ba?
So
Kita-kit sa McDo.
sweet. McDo. Baka next time we should get together and then you'll show your crazy culinary creations. Baka we should have like a chat. And that's it. That was my conversation with Avid Liongoren. You can see more of his work on avidliongoren.com. Hayup Ka is showing on Netflix, Asia, and so is Saving Sally. And his next project is Jaja Saturna. Um, that was a good conversation. We got pretty deep with like the situation for young animators in the Philippines. We talked about how he and his company are coping with the pandemic and just making the best of it. So thank you so much, Avid, for joining us here. Let me share with you Rocket Sheep's reel to end this episode of Mars Cafe. Thank you so much.